that spell.
Hello. Actually, hang on. Give me 1 second.
Oh, this is really awesome.
Yeah,
There we go. That is the method you use. Hello, welcome to the stream. My name is Lee. Femme vibes today. Still not full woman, but you can use she, her pronouns. Or he or they. I'm pretty chill. But I feel like it's important to stress I'm not a woman because if I don't, everyone's gonna forget. It is one of those things. Welcome to the stream. You might notice that I have a blank document because I'm slightly more prepared than usual because, why am I doing this? Yes. I have to do the thing I usually do. You know, if you watch my streams regularly, you'll know that I am very unprepared. So, I actually was more prepared than usual today. But, we are starting. Okay. Yay. Okay, so what I'm doing, oh yes, I have to do the other thing as well. Mute that. So, hello and welcome. We are doing the thing with the other thing. We're going here and, doing the whatchamajig. So we're doing the making of an aquatic dwarf city, today. So, why are we doing an aquatic dwarf city? Well, here is the reason. It all started with a lake in the kingdom of Berghoff, I believe. Duchy of Berghoff. It's a country, but it's also a duchy because reasons. That yes, I am. Okay. Oh, right, angst and roleplay. Okay, which is we're not doing right now. We're going to... let me go to here. Yes, so why aquatic dwarves? Well, I was explaining about the, let me check the chat. Hi, welcome! I know, those can be fun, believe me, I know. But I also know that, you know. Anyway, what was I gonna do? I was gonna do, so, Moradin, Marodin are a type of, boom, we're starting late night early tonight. Yep. So Marodin is not Moradin. Okay, I didn't stretch the topic out for more than 3 sessions. I only did 1 session before. I split it into 2, if I remember correctly. I think we've only done 2 streams on this so far. I do not remember the middle one, apparently. But this one, we're gonna make I'm gonna do geography of the capital city, because I thought it would be cool. I mean, we could also do other empire adjacent, like we could do Castavan, or we could do the Gnomish troops in Castavan. We could do, if you have a better idea than aquatic dwarves. So basically, I'm doing world building for Hitherland and the surrounding world. I will bring up a map. I will bring a map of the continent up. Now, believe me, the aquatic dwarves are in another thing. So what I'm going to do... No, not you. What we're going to do is bring up the map. It will go over my head. Do not forget I am here. Let's see. Map of... I know I have a map in here somewhere. That's a map of a city that doesn't exist. Well, no, it does exist. All of the cities are maps of cities that don't exist. No, map of this one. That one. Okay, that's the map. Oh, the flag's on. Okay, I'm going to take down the flag just half a second. That is the map of the continent where Heatherland is. There's also across the ocean to the east. This way. The west. Across the ocean to the east, there's a couple islands that have cults to a death god. One of my that is not Pharasma. Generally considered evil. They in fact use tactics to make people die. No, I don't mind so much. Don't worry. I have a thicker skin than that. Don't worry. What was I? Oh, yes. But, is Phoenix? No. I just wanted to make sure Phoenix wasn't on before I missed the last session, but, ooh, hopefully. But what I was going to say was to the over the seas to the east there was a couple of small islands near Gilnea. There's Trompelia, which is to the south. I don't know if that shows on the map. It's not a very good map. I know you're very visually oriented, Sig. I don't know if anyone else is in chat. So I understand that it's not exactly the yeah, no, it was brilliant little art piece. I wrote an entire set of song lyrics and got nary a glance, so you did better than I did. Twitch. There's that. Oh, yes. So, I did all of the main ones, I think. That is it for this, but I'm going to leave it bopped. We do the bop thing with the bop, she bop, she bop. Not the Ramalama Ding Dong. I don't go that far. Alright, so I was going to do Aquatic Dwarven City. Like, take the you don't have to. No. It's not that. I don't mind if you don't. It's just one of those things, you know? It's fun, though. You should go see it. Actually, I could sing live on stream because it's not copyrighted because it's my lyrics. I could do that. Let's see. Here we go. I'm going to do that while I find my other thing, and you can all start singing, and then any of you in the chat can say whether you want to do Aquatic Dwarves or you want to pick one of these countries randomly and or want to hear about... It's to the tune of another song, so it's... But I think under... Since it's not directly the same lyrics... Blah, I'm getting a New York accent. Let's see. There will come a killer whose heart is icy cold. I don't... Well, the thing about that... Okay, I'll take down the map for half... I'm putting the flag back up anyway. Because flags. I'll take down the map. The thing about it is that it's not necessarily... It's more of a third-person perspective kind of voice. Probably human. There will be a killer whose heart is icy cold. He will laugh at your demise. Ole, ole, oh Lord. Ole, 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 oh Lord. He will laugh at your demise. Ole, ole, oh Lord. There will come some soldiers with sharpened silver swords. They will tear you limb from limb. Ole, ole, oh Lord. Ole, 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 oh Lord. They will tear you limb from limb. Ole, ole, oh Lord. You will meet a ruler who's never growing old. A walking corpse with an iron fist, ole, ole, oh Lord. Ole, 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 oh Lord. A walking corpse with an iron fist, ole, ole, oh Lord. Well, that's what happened with the thing. They met all three of those people in Relastra. That was like, who do you meet in Relastra? Well, you meet the assassin, you meet the guards, and then you meet Drax. You know? Those were the three, sorry. There we go. Much better. Those are the three groups of people. Well, Drax is not a group. Those were the three encounters they had. In that... Did you not watch the frickin' Greyhawk Awakening campaign where they, on Blue Box RPG, who, I mean, it is, though. Because if you watch the Greyhawk Awakening campaign on Blue Box RPG, which I'm not trying to push because I'm going to do my own world building, I promise, but they met the assassin when they came back from the thing. They met the assassin who mocked them, and then Taldar stabbed him, and then he ran off. Then they met the soldiers for Drax, who did tear them limb from limb, killed two of them. The soldiers with the tore them limb from limb, ole, ole, Lord. And then they met Drax, who was the undying king of the city. Like, you know? Those are three encounters that they had in Relastra. I'm still playing catch up with that campaign. Because I am not usually free on Tuesday nights. In fact, I'm usually free on Wednesday nights, but today is the exception because I was playing hooky because reasons. What was that? I did sell my blood though, so you know, there's that. But, ooh, you know what I could do? All right, I'm gonna do this while we work. For a sponsor bit. Go on. BT dubs. Oy vey. Tomorrow I specifically asked. Tomorrow I'm taking a COVID test, so. Because I'm gonna go see my mother. Alright. Oof. Ooh, good. Get the boosters. Get boosted. It's good for you. But what I can do, I want to show you a cool thing I can do. So we have a blank sheet of paper, and I was going to do a capital city for aquatic dwarves. Oh, no, it's kind of hell, but then you don't get COVID. So anyway, if you get COVID, you don't end up as bad, and you don't get hospitalized, and you keep the hospital free for patients who have other conditions, and also don't die, and also, you know, the usual. But, oh, yes. This is going to be really cool. So the whole point on this is, interesting. My grand plan is, I was going to do more aquatic dwarves. I was going to figure out the Citadel. Like, okay, so they have probably one big main, they probably have one big main, here, I'm gonna keep it a surprise secret. They probably have one big main city, right, with the event. That's probably where they started. And they probably have a temple to Gosra. That's probably a thing, and her aspect is goddess of the seas, right? So, we should... I feel like we should do... Okay, we're gonna start listing stuff. This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna freeform. So, the far to the west, unless you want, you or someone else in the chat, other people are allowed to be in the chat as well. I just, boom. Yeah, Lord Gazimba is still Lord Gazimbing, but, you know, I'm keeping an eye on things, because I have a horse in the game for the boost, not the booster, the giveaway, so to speak. But, what I was going to say was, if you or somebody else in the chat wants to do something different in terms of world building in that, we do proper Atlas. And then there's Castavan. So we got Castavan, we got all of the continents I showed you on the map. I will bring the map back up. You also have a few islands. You've Trempelia down to the south, which is where all coffee comes from. Because the players... I said there was coffee, therefore there is. There's also a cattle market in Zentrum now. Oh, and Burbville, where they have all the chickens. That's like a thing. There's also one particularly evil chicken. Okay, to be fair, the chicken itself is not evil. She just got out of her little pen and went wandering in the woods and ran into the party. And my main player rolled an insight check on this chicken because reasons and rolled a nat 1. So it's like, that chicken's kind of shifty looking. So now the players are convinced it's evil because, well, kind of shifty looking, but it's just a chicken. It's clever enough to escape, but she didn't do anything. She's fluffing around. Got out of the coop and just went everywhere. Okay. Sorry, there's a scenario in Minecraft. I know Minecraft isn't your jam, per se, but it's a game that I ended up playing with a bunch of my D&D party, actually. We went and played Minecraft together as well, and I have a house full of chickens because reasons, and it's just, they just kind of hang out in the house, and there's one that sits in the cattle pen and just is weird, but you know what, it's fine. And there was that time I accidentally planted a lapis lazuli tree in the cattle pen because reasons, but we got out of that and it's fine. Cattle are also like, they get into complicated situations. I should probably, I'll do that later. My point on any of this though was, what happened? The cattle pen escaping? That I had a game of Minecraft going? You're gonna have to be more specific. I got kind of derailed in the story. That I had a whole game going. A different game. Not you guys, I didn't... Oh, the chickens? Well, Minecraft happened. I don't know how much you play Minecraft. But, yeah, I ended up playing Minecraft on a Minecraft server, and I ended up catching a few chickens. The thing about chickens is that you can't really pen them properly because they just fly over the fences. So you either have to build a coop or you just leave them tied, and that wastes the ties, which you can only get by murdering the llamas of the traveling merchants, which is kind of annoying, and you don't want to murder llamas because you feel bad about it. And also they're a source of useful things if you have emeralds. But, and the llamas are cute. You don't want to kill them either. Although you can ride them, but like, you can actually control them because they have saddles, but you can't get saddles, and it's, anyway. Oh! Yeah, no, it is very much a young person's game, I will admit. I was in a Minecraft stream because a friend of mine started streaming Minecraft, and I wanted to be supportive, because she was in the stream originally a couple times, so I would watch to be supportive, and then, they're young, and so you want to be supportive of young people, and they're vaguely interesting Canadians, so I'd go on their Minecraft streams, and, just to hang out in the chat sometimes if I wasn't doing anything else and they were streaming. And one time I mentioned that I was in high school when Homestuck came out, and they called me well, hey, that's good. If you can be a good stepfather, that's an actually useful life skill, is being a parental figure that people like. So, there's no reason step-parents have to be evil. And you know what? If they like you, that's good. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. But I told them I was in high school when Homestuck came out, and they called me an old man, and I'm like, kinda. I am getting up there. And you feel it when you do a physical job and your back starts to hurt, and you're like, But, Homestuck, I was born in the 1900s, okay? That is a thing that the kids on the Tumblr are leveling at people as insult now. What, were you born in the 1900s? And you're like, don't level my inability to do math at me. Like, Anyway, yes, I was born in the 1900s. But yeah, I was in high school, when the, Homestuck came out. I was actually a huge Homestuck back in the day, and I never finished, and I got to the point where they resurrected Vrishka, the real resurrection, the Spurb disc that they found in the fight, Caliborn 4, and it was a whole thing to take down the Batter Witch, who was actually a servant of Lord English, who technically was... Anyway, my point being, chickens... I got very, very off track with the chickens. In Minecraft, you can procure chickens, and you don't domesticate them, you just kind of keep them penned up, and they produce eggs every once in a while. So if you want eggs, what you do is you keep the chickens penned up, and they just produce eggs, and if you feed them seeds, they multiply, and there's more chickens, because that's... a thing, I guess. But that's how animals work in Minecraft. If you feed multiples of animals, they start, reproducing. That's why you go down to the paddle pens and start an orgy, and then you have calves. But anyway, I brought the chickens into the little house I'd built in the Minecraft world, and I had a little house that I'd built. Well, a cave that I dug out and put a bed in and torches, and I stashed all my stuff in there and put the crafting table, and, it was a base, basically, for myself, a little house. And, it had a door, and then there was walls, except the walls kept getting blown up by creepers, and I had to, repatch them 7 times. It's a pain in the ass. And there was the whole water source that nearby, so I put a bunch of wheat next door. Anyway, it was a whole, setup I had going. And, but now it's full of chickens. I still keep the bed, and I can still sleep in there. As long as there's not, a zombie right outside, because if there's a zombie right outside, you have to go kill it before you can sleep. It's really annoying. But, we're in easy survival mode, so we're not, anything crazy, but... And then, it's whole thing, and we don't have to mine because of this mod that, someone put in the server, and it was really helpful. Anyway... Sorry about all of that. My point on relevant to this is that chickens are cool, and in Burbville there are chickens, and it's in Heatherland, which is in this world, which is what I was going to world build on. And we're already 20 minutes into the stream, and I haven't done any world building. I did tell some interesting stories. I actually went back and watched one of my old streams. Because I went back to putting them on YouTube. So, sometimes my streams are on YouTube. And, hang on, it got screwed up. I'm fixing that. We're gonna put this to the side for now. It got screwed up. Hopefully you didn't see too much. I know, but I don't know if that helps anyone, but yes. My point on all of that is chickens and exposition and shenanigans, is that, I was actually going to do world building. And I'm getting crazy distracted. And Jay's still going. I'm swoop in to grab the Order of Look points, because you always swoop in to grab Order of Look points. But, hey, they do help people. They're cool. And I am... Oh, hey, we have another viewer. You're not the only person watching. So, hi, other person watching. Feel free to say hi in the chat. What I was going to say, though... Yeah, we're 30 minutes and 33 seconds in. Oh, yes. So, what's the capital called? If you're here, you get to name the capital. Basically, that's how I run my streams, is that if you're here, you get to name stuff. So, and I'm going to ask very nicely. So, you got the one main capital. With the temple. The temple to Gosra is on the surface, right? Also, what's the ocean called? If you have a good idea for what's the ocean called, let me know, because I don't know what it's called. So far, it's to the west of the main continent, which we do have a name for, because freaking, Bees named it for us. Let me save your work. Always save your work. We're doing this, yep, we have that. I think it's under things that exist. Circumorthocution, which is, choosing your words based on what you can and can't spell. Point Poison resist. Okay, aquatic dwarves. We have those. Oh, we have a whole list of them. That's nice. King. Dupe of the capital is Agathar. Yes, the Castellan. Oh, other continent. Sprintia. Yes, the BC. Okay, it starts with a B. That's a little obvious, but we could start it with a B. Becellum. Becellum Ocean. It's called the Becellum Ocean because I say so. It is now called the Becellum Ocean. The BC. Oh, Becellum Ocean. I see what you did there. But, yes. So, we now have a name for the ocean. And a name for one of the continents. So, that's good. And then a couple islands. We got some stuff going on with this. We have a map. Hang on. I have a bunch of names that are really cool that we haven't used yet. I also have this, which I'm gonna do that. This. That. Okay, you know what? Okay, here's the question. Should we put... Organizational question. Should we put the notes on the aquatic dwarves in the same... notes on... You know what? We should. So what we're gonna do is... Not do this. We're gonna not... Oh, no, sorry. I have to click through here. What we're gonna do is go back to things that exist, and then we're gonna... yeah, it's gonna leave it. And then there's of course the other ocean on the other side, which is the Empire, and I don't know if there's anything between the Empire and Sprintia's eastern coast yet. There might be, might not be. Like, we're working on that. And of course there's all the periphery of the Empire where it's breaking apart. And there's other stuff going on. Like, I don't know what's there yet, but we're working on it. We're building this world, bit by bit by bit, on stream with you guys, and as I play through the thing. That's why Burbville has all these chickens, which I swear I didn't coordinate, the chickens, poultry market with the name Burbville. I just changed, I have a lot of towns there, like, Thofton, and the temple to Desna is in Thofton, because the thing, and the young paladin from the temple in... Stimming. It's called stimming. It's a trait among autistic and ADHD people. It helps focus the mind. It's a very common... The flapping hands is a very common stim. Just one of those things, you know? Sometimes people do, you know, it's a vibe. I mean, it's a cool video. It's a damn good video. Of course you're gonna... You know, stim when you see it. It's like, you know? I'm also glad you showed me that. And actually, I have a plan for Saturday. You're gonna like it, I promise. And I promise Smurfs, so we will have Smurfs. But I have a plan, and it's gonna be awesome sauce, and there's gonna be shenanigans, and that is an interest. Hang on, though. Smurfs are... That is for Saturday. For Saturday. Don't worry, I have a plan for Saturday. It's gonna be a thing, you know? Thursday... Oh, I might not stream Thursday tomorrow because I have another thing going on tomorrow, but I have to get COVID test and then go from there. But, also my mother... Ooh! What time Saturday? Well, I was thinking 2 p.m. It's a pretty good time. Yes. Okay. The important question is, okay. Here's the thing. I have to call my mother. All right. Wait, what's the thing with, um, okay. I'm gonna call her in an hour or two. You know, I think it'll be okay. All right. Um, excellent. I will, do that. I am very sorry to all of you. I'm gonna do the, hang on a moment. Hi there. Welcome. Sorry about that. I did talk to my mother. She's doing fine. I just had to coordinate tomorrow, which is she's coming early to pick me up, which means I have to coordinate other things around that, but that's okay, because I got this. But what I was... Dukedoms and... Oh, yes. Yes. What I was... Ooh, raffles are important. I should keep an eye on that just to... yes, Anna. Anna B. Myers is amazing, by the way. I'm going to put a shout out to Anna, because honestly, she does our map. You know, I'm going to do a shout out to Anna, too. Or at least link her website, because she is like... you know how awesome Anna is. But I feel like I should mention how awesome Anna B. Meyer is. Because, yeah, she's cool. Interesting. Oh, Bandit Kingdom summary. That is good. So Anna B. Myers basically does maps for Greyhawk, and is cool. And I mean, even if they don't raid in, which, yes, okay, I'm secretly hoping they raid in. But I also other people might come in and pop in to say hello, who are at their stream on the stream now with them, but are you know, that jazz. But what I was... Okay, yeah, I'm not going to wait for it to load because it is taking forever. But, I can handle pressure. I got this. Okay. Oh, the legend artwork. Okay. Or also Lord Gazumba, is also really cool. By the way. So wait. I was going to go to the, practically Antarctic. So they're very, very far south. But we had the Bacillum Ocean, right? The temple is, okay, so if they're so Antarctic, then their temple is, the Temple de Gazra that they have is almost certainly, sorry, I'm getting a lot of is almost certainly, what was I gonna say? Almost certainly icy, right? The temple, to Gazra, because that's their main deity, we agreed. January 15th, okay. That's, but what I was going to say, the Temple of Gazra, because they worship Gazra, is, on the top of their citadel. Like, this is like, they probably have to go to sealskin, right? Okay, so imagine you are aquatic. Well, okay, they probably have blubber. They're probably heavier than other they probably have blubber, right? Like whales? That is an important question. I mean, or do they do sealskin? Or both? They probably all wear sealskin, actually. One-such underwater fungus is known to produce ethanol, which is very, very important for dwarves. Wearing sealskin. And, well, I mean, they're probably, less obviously muscular because they have the blubber because of a blubber layer, right? Yeah, they all have dad bods. You know what? They all have freaking dad bods. And they look good at it. Alright, yes, and mostly, looking less muscular than their surface, cousins. Because they have a blubber layer. Although, okay, they put their apple to bed. That's a thing. So they have a blubber layer. Okay. Yes, so there's that. Also known for wearing seashells in their hair. See, this is what I wanted to do, is like cultural stuff. Stuff like they're known for wearing seashells in their hair. And beard braids. But what I was, also hit save, because you do always save your work. Randomly hit save, all the time, because having, not saving your stuff, like, my stream crashed when I was in the middle of writing this up, and I had to, redo the thingamabob with the whatchamajig. Okay, Temple to Gazra is on the surface. So it's on the surface. So it's probably like ice, right? Like, or no, it's carved from rock, but the rock, sorry. Ooh, they probably do have at least, they probably have webbed toes, right? And fins, like, a little bit on just under the shoulder blades. Or on the back of their arms, like, okay. Yeah, okay, webbed feet, for sure. Right, so we're gonna do, dudes, dudettes, and do-don'ts is a way to update that. But what I meant was, oh dear, don't want to close. Well, I mean, closing Google's what it is. Who are they raiding? Well, they're gonna raid somebody anyway. My point being, Southern Temple of Gaza is on the surface, made from. Okay, can you have marble under the ocean? This is an important question. We're gonna have to do random research. During this, we're gonna have to go. Can you have undersea marble? Because underwater. Because it's oh, okay. Here we go. Crystalline materials capable of pulling and storing. Ooh, here we go. Oh, you can crystals that make underwater breathing possible. Hang on. You know what? It's my world. I can. No. Jay's rating somebody. I don't know. Oh, they're rating Stella Luna. All right. I'm just gonna tell her she's awesome, but I can't stick around. Yeah, because I'll have to tell them they're awesome, and I can't stick around. Yeah. So we're gonna do that, and it is what it is. And yes. So yeah, we're gonna find underwater crystals. So they basically dug the crystals from much near the equator. Yeah, that's it. As this Temple to Gazra, they put it on the top. This temple is like a work of art because Gazra is the most beautiful and amazing deity ever. I mean, okay, I just like Eric Mona being awesome for it. Essentially. Yeah, Eric Mona is just basically awesome. So, so Crystal, quarried up near the equator, swum down, okay, so I'm gonna go, hang on a second, I'm gonna do this. Medium, So I'm going to mention physical... You know what we're going to do? We're going to do physical features. I'm going to write... Here's an interesting question, though. If you are living below the surface, right? Like swimming in the ocean, glub, glub, glub. Actually, they probably wear kilts. Because you can't, sure, you probably, they probably have legs. I would imagine it'd probably be difficult to walk on land, but not impossible. They probably have legs. But the legs are probably much shorter? That is an question. Okay, sea mammals are. Oh wow. Okay, I'm overthinking the biology, but listen, they probably have much shorter legs proportionally, right? I mean, that's what Michael Phelps looks like, and he's world-class swimmer. He's the best human at swimming, right? And his proportions are much, his torso is proportionally much longer than the legs for the average human. And that's something that's worth noting. I mean, I was thinking more kilts, but sealskin kilts. Or even sealskin, tunics that go down to, the knees. Because you have to leave the, you'd have to wear leave the legs free to properly swim. And there's probably a lot less, yeast infection risk. Part of the reason underwear is such an important thing is that yeast infections are freaking... I don't know if there's urinary tract infections and yeast infections and all those nasty... are a thing among biologically male members of the species, but among the other half, they are that's why you always have clean underwear, or it does that to you. But if you're in the water, I don't think that's as much of a risk as it is with land-based stuff. It's a weird biological tick, but I think that's I don't know. Maybe? I mean, it's not poison. Neither of them are poison-based, so I don't know if... Okay, now the question is, are dwarves susceptible to yeast infection? Which is a possibility? Depends on... Alright, now I'm not the right person to answer this. There are probably forums where this kind of thing is discussed. I am not the person to answer this. But my point is that, as if for an aquatic species, that's less of a concern. It would just have to be long enough to cover the tip of the genitals, but, actually, males would probably wear longer pieces than females because you'd need more coverage. That is probably, a thing. They wear longer skirts than the women. That is probably, a fashionable thing that you do. And even with this short torso, it's kind of weird to make, and they wouldn't do pants. They don't do, that's it. That's how it goes. Okay, you know what? We are making, weird fashion choices are going to be a thing. Okay, so, and probably also armor. Probably, much more upper, there's upper body, you wear the skirt, the sealskin tunic dress thing, and then with the sleeves, and the sleeves have to stop at your mid-wrist because swimming. And then, sorry, my nose is itchy. There's, what was I gonna say? Shenanigans ensue. And, sorry. They get, and swum down to build the temple on the... Build the temple on the roof, to Gaza. On above. So it's half under, half over. On the top, and the male and so there's a statue, right, of Gosra in the very center, the water line, right? There's this statue, And there it's a long column, right? And it's suspend. And basically, it's like a plinth and with pillars supporting it, and you can swim around and up to the surface, but it goes down. This is the cornerstone of this temple to Gazra is yeah, we actually are getting into world building. This is good, and I'm definitely gonna stream at least until 11 because that's when I usually start the stream. So, and while I did say I was starting it late, I feel like what I could do is do that. Sorry, I'm. Oh. Boom. Okay. No. Quartz. Sorry, I'm. That is 8. Okay, yes. So. Okay, so. Above the surface. On top of their. On the very peak of their underwater mountain. I guess is the best way to describe it. So it has this really epic statue. Ready? So you get the building, and then the pillars, and then you have basically it's built as a it's there's 4 cross beams. There's 4 pillars, right? One for earth, one for air, one for fire, one for water. Their main mountain citadel. And there are other, like, it does extend beyond just the mountain. They have this big mountain that's their home cultural homeland that they were first created in and built in. And then you have the 4 pillars to anchor it to the mountain. One for earth, one for air, one for fire, one for water, right? There's 4 pillars. And then, okay. Okay. So this is a really cool. I don't know if I could ever draw it, but if this is where if you and then right on the surface there are these 4 cross beams on the surface, and they're triangular holes we could pop up like the floor kind of. I might like commission. I don't know. Do you do commissions? Because I could commission a rendering of this place because it's gonna be really really cool. 4 cross beam. So 4 main pillars, right? No. The pillar of the community is, well, there is a 5th pillar, but it's hollowed out and it's hollowed out and actually, no, the 5th is the statue. The 5th is the statue in the middle. In the middle of there's this intensive. I'll explain it. 4 main pillars. Hang on. The 5th element is love, right? And communal love is part of that, right? Love for your community and your people and your patriotism. Earth, air, fire, and serve as the corners. Of the structure. And the anchor point. Then you got, there's not much tide because they're not near land, so it's all thing. But there's a bit of tidal flux. But then there are 2 cross beams in an X. One connecting air and water, one connecting fire and earth. On the surface level, the surface level are two connecting connections built. The one between the intersect, because they're built they intersect in the middle, and a round part in the middle, and then so there's a round platform in the middle that lead up to a round platform in the middle. And X, but then there's a round platform in the middle, so they're both intersected by so they're not connecting the pillars literally, but there's a round actually no, they are collecting literally, and then the platform is built into it. And then there's this because you can do 3D architecture when you have water in a way you can't. It's very difficult to do on land because gravity is a thing. Like, if you build a thing on land, right, and the people are walking, essentially. If you have a group of people who can fly, that's a very different thing. But if you have land-based race, so they walk from place to place. If you build something on the ground, up in the air, they're always going to be on the same level as a floor. So if you want to use three-dimensional space, you need to provide ladders or staircases or elevators, preferably at least some elevators, because anyone who has trouble walking is going to have a bitch with the ladders and the stairs. So accessibility is an issue, but, you're going to have to figure out a way to, get around that for anyone who has trouble with walking, for your ladders and stairs, right? So you have to, plot out how you're going to get people from floor to floor. So three-dimensional architecture is very difficult because gravity is a thing, so everyone's always on the bottom, unless they have a platform to go otherwise, right? If you have a group of creatures that can fly, like Aarakocra or angels or any creature that has wings that can fly, then you can start doing fun things with the three-dimensional space because people can just fly to different parts. And if you're underwater, you can swim to different parts. So you can, if you have sentient creatures that can fly or swim, you can do so much different things with space, and especially with water, because you still have the principle of gravity with everything that's not swimming around. So stones and stuff don't float. So you kind of have to, your architecture is limited to that. Same as if you're building on land and people can fly. Although, if you do have that, and you have members of your group who have trouble with their wings, okay, here's a side note. Accessibility, if you have a society of people who have wings, right? And wouldn't you have, there's probably disabilities where you can't fly, right? Sometimes humans are born with, mangled spines, so you can't walk, or, lose them to injury, or this, that, or the other thing. And so buildings nowadays are built with elevators, because otherwise you're just, you have to scoot your ass up the stairs and have someone else bring the wheelchair up for you, or are stuck on one floor, you're stuck. And that kind of sucks if you're that kind of member. So generally, in this day and age at least, we build buildings with elevators, or, if you are stuck in you're in a wheelchair, I wouldn't say stuck, it's not considered, it's one of those things, but if you have to use a wheelchair and you can't walk, you can't do stairs, you're stuck on the ground floor of buildings. And there's a whole process of, elevators and different things that allow for some mobility to that. Now, here's the thing. And they've tweaked that, and the stair lifts are a thing now in people's houses. If you're, have some mobility where you can get, within, but long distances give you trouble, then you keep the wheelchair on the bottom floor and you just don't walk around too much on the upper floor. But so you have a stair lift in your house and it works. Accessibility is very variable. But I actually have a point on all of this, which is, accessibility in our world is an important topic, but it's not my area of expertise because my legs work pretty well. I do have one brother whose legs not so much, so I do have a little bit of knowledge on that. But my point on all of this is if you have a community of people who can fly, bird people or Aarakocra or angels or whoever has wings, there's got to be some members with screwed up wings or who've lost them in accidents or who are born with subpar wings or have muscle cramps and have trouble with flying. Like, there's got to be that, right? Unless you have a really strict eugenics program, you're going to end up with members that can't fly as well as the others. How much accessibility can you build? Like, do they have stairs built into buildings if you fly? Because for those who can't thing, as an accessibility thing, and if it's a fly up, you are just screwed if you can't fly. Like, walk up apartments where if you're in a wheelchair, like, nope, you can't rent it. Like, do they have buildings like that? Is that a thing in flying societies? With swimming, it's a little different. Oh, hi! Did Fraley come in? No, I was explaining accessibility for... But that's a whole other thing, too. If you're expected to swim, and, do you put handholds on the side of the building for those who have trouble with the legs and the swimming? Because I'm sure if you have trouble with your leg muscles, and your whole species is swimming, it would be difficult, but not possible. Would climbing actually be a more accessible option? Which makes very little sense, but underwater, it might actually be a more accessible option. That is a thing. Probably not in the temple. Temples are notorious, like ancient temples are notoriously not good with accessibility. But, yeah. And what if you could, What? Go on. No, because we said pillars of the community. You don't throw your weaker members out to the sharks. That's not what humans do, and it's certainly probably not what dwarves do, right? I don't know. Dwarven society might be very different, and there have been human societies in the past, and even still today, where disabled members are just thrown to the wolves. But I like to think that dwarves, with their focus on community, would do better than that. But, what do I know? What was I going to say? One between the... Oh, yes, because the epic... So this temple has terrible accessibility, but it's really cool design. So, yeah. But I just thought of that, when I was thinking about 3D spaces. Yeah, Sparta's a big one. Yeah. Let's see. One between... No. But are the dwarves a military society? Are they solely military, or do they value people for other skill sets? And what do you take for things what people have not much to offer society? It's a whole other question as well. Pillars and water, and one between the pillars, sorry. I'm trying to explain this epic design for this temple, and we got sidetracked on accessibility, and this is what happens in these streams. Also, hi, apparently we have new viewers, so welcome. My name is Lee. She, her vibes today, I'm not actually a woman, but she, her vibes will work. Tier Day is cool, too. Ooh, that's a thought. That is a thought. No, that's a thought. As soon as I finish explaining the temple design, that is something we can latch onto, because this is an entire civilization that we're just building from a linguistic slip that just spiraled into something awesome now, that we have this whole society that maybe no one's ever going to go to, but it might be kind of cool. Like, we're working through all of this, and this is what world building is all about. This is why you collaborate with world building, because so many great things can happen, and yeah, Okay, one between the pillars of water and fire, of earth and fire, sorry. Earth and fire. I'm fine. I'm fine. It's just exciting. Forming an X. X across the main floor of the temple, which is otherwise open and swimmable. Apart from platform, because this is the platform where the X in the center of the X. This is where it gets up in the center of the platform, a circular platform. It's not a square, it's circular. I don't know if that makes a difference thematically, but, you know. Sorry. That was, I don't know what came over me there. But platform in the center of the X, circular platform, right? And on the top is a statue. This is the important part of in his male aspect, and carved on the bottom of the platform into the water. And you generally swim up in the in between the triangles. To pay respects. Right, it's open and swimmable, so you can kind of pop your head up above the water, and then swim up to one of the connections, and then go up to the center of the thing. And carved on the bottom of the platform, extending down into the water. I mean, they probably call it surface ball, right? Because think about it. There's probably different level, like surface, right? Because it would add another element to the game if they're playing on the surface. Because you can play like hoop ball or whatever underwater and swim around, but water polo is specifically played on the surface. I actually played briefly, was a member of the club water polo team. I never played in any games, but I practiced with the club water polo team at UMass, and it's a lot. It's a lot. But I almost drowned during a few of the practices because sometimes it gets rough, but it's kind of awesome, and I don't mind it, and I appreciate that. It was a co-ed team. It was kind of awesome. Yeah, it is intense because you have to you can't touch the bottom of the pool. You have to tread water the whole time, and that's a lot, you know? But it would be an interesting thought that if you had an underwater society, would you play it on the surface specifically to add an extra level of difficulty because you're out of your usual environment? Or would you play more traditional sports where you're throwing a ball around underwater, kind of underwater catch or whatever crazy. Plus, any sport you played would be three-dimensional, right? Because you have the three-dimensional space, you'd have to define the boundaries with a cube. Like, you could go out of bounds up and sideways. You'd have to be able to, right? Otherwise, there has to be an out of bounds up, I feel like. I mean, there's not for Quidditch, but Quidditch is... there's a whole thing with... Anyway, my point being, I feel like there's bound to be an upper limit to how high you can go. I guess if the goalposts are at a certain level, you don't want to go too much higher than that because it makes it difficult to maneuver. But honestly, maintaining a bounds, there's probably like a net. They probably put everyone in the cube net. If they're going to play a sport of some sort, they probably have... Well, for water polo, you're right on the surface, so you can't go... Well, okay, that's an interesting question, though, because water polo is generally played in a pool, right? So there's a limit to how low, and you can't get, and the ball doesn't sink, so you can't go underwater. I don't think it's against the rules specifically to go underwater, but because humans have to breathe air, people generally don't. But, I don't remember. I lost a lot of that knowledge of how water polo... Exactly. So I think you can move underwater to, like, if you're swimming, but you generally stay on the surface because humans aren't aquatic by nature, so you can't breathe, and you're already exerting enough. Being able to breathe is an important factor in how you play. Like, you can't... Your maneuvers have to account for that. That's also true. Being able to see is a whole other factor. But if you can see perfectly underwater, because your eyes are adapted for it, and you can breathe underwater, so you're not worrying about, that. What, I guess if you played specifically with a ball, okay, if you played with a ball that wouldn't sink, wouldn't freaking storing it be a pain in the ass? If you lived underwater and were playing with a ball that was specifically designed to float, to screw with, unless you had like a... I know, that's probably part of the rules. But they don't generally move underwater. Well, like, if I remember, the balls don't... They're designed to float. And even, you're supposed to keep it above the surface, but... as a player, but you're, so you can't, like, manipulate it under the water, but, it's also doesn't sink well. Like, dragging it under is, like, if I remember correctly, is a pain in the ass. Exactly. It doesn't go under well. It doesn't, it floats, essentially, so pulling it under. But if you had a game and you lived underwater and you had a game that was played on the surface and you had specifically a ball that floated, it would be kind of pain in the ass to store because you'd have to swim it down and pull it against its better nature. Unless it was like an inflatable that you could deflate at the end of the game. That's a thought. And that's why it floated, was you inflated it. Like a balloon inflated with regular old lung air won't float like a helium balloon. But it will float on water. And if you have like a bladder of a seal or something that you're using, and you it up and then tie it off, you would have a ball that floated but couldn't, so it wouldn't rise in the air, but it would float on top of the water, which I guess is like the equivalent of a balloon. If you think about it, it's kind of the equivalent of a balloon if you live underwater, because you can't pull it. You have to exert force to pull it down, you know what I mean? The way helium balloons do. It would be harder to pull down than a helium balloon, though, because water is denser than air, but, anyway, water polo, swimming, sports, that's a whole other thing. I have to finish the temple first, but that is a thought. Or you could have a cube. Because if you had a sport, what you could do is you block out a cube so you can go out of bounds up or to the side or down, presumably. I mean, unless you played on the seafloor. Yeah, if you were playing on the seafloor, you couldn't go down anyway, but you would probably define a limit a three-dimensional limit if you had, especially in a bigger stadium, and then you put the cube in the middle, and you put you had an out of grounds on the bottom where, stuff, you could store equipment and stuff, and you weren't allowed to play in that area, so if it went out of bounds, it would be down. And plus, you'd have to keep the ball from going out of bounds down because it would be sinking as you'd move, right? Assuming it wasn't one of the ones that floated for a surface game, right? So that would be a whole other secondary layer of complexity. The ball would just go out of bounds if, it would just kind of, it'd be like kicking it and it would go out of bounds, but you didn't even have to kick it. It just would go naturally because gravity is still a thing. That's a thought. And then the goalposts are attached to the corners of the cube, and you mount the cube in the space, and then, cheapo courts that people put together would have a floor, would be the seafloor, be the floor, obviously, and you couldn't, But if you had a real, proper stadium built, you tend to mount the cube. That's the difference between a proper court and a home game deal, Okay, I know, subtle difference in sporting equipment in a game that you couldn't even play as a human because of the way human biology works, but it would be kind of cool. I'm very distractible. It's not that hard, I am very distractible. Honestly. Platform under the water. Right, this is important. Is a statue, a carved statue. Upside down under the water. Right, upside down under the water is this carved statue of, Gosra in her female aspect. So you have this, really epic, suspended from these four, you have the four pillars, and presumably, they're not even, each pillar has its own little, the four pillars, the temple has no walls, under the water. It has, the top part has walls, right? The walls are only above the surface, and the walls are only above the surface, and they don't, and there's no floor except carved around the base of each of the pillars. So you can swim up from any of the pillars to the connection point, and then kind of the side, so you go over and up, come up between them within the little X. And if you swim the wrong way, you end up outside of the walls on the surface, and you just have to swim back under. But, in her female aspect, there's no walls except above the water. And even then, the walls don't hit the bottom of the surface of the water exactly, especially because there's tidal variations. Which actually, no, there probably aren't tidal variations, because you only really get tides close to shore, right? The tides are caused by the interaction of the water and the shoreline. But, that's an interesting question. Do they get... they probably get tides because of the way the mountain is, right? Especially if they're built above. It'd probably, maybe? I don't know. Yes, they have beards. Both men and women, have beards. They're kelp-like. Yes, they have beards. And they are kind of... have a leaf-like quality to, like kelp almost, that comes out. And the hair as well. The strands are thicker and, more, the strands are thicker and more pronounced than a human hair, for example. Straight, but, well, aquatic dwarf women do. And also it depends on the lore. Most lore has dwarven women having beards. Under most systems. Dwarven women have beards. It's a well-known tradition. Well, Amethyst is also from a version of reality where Mountain Dwarf women don't have beards, as evidenced by the fact that Brynhild doesn't. So clearly in the version of Erda where we came from, Dwarven women don't have beards. And Amethyst may or may not know that. But yeah, didn't Gimli specifically say that Dwarven women had beards, and that's why everyone always said there was no Dwarven women, and they're like, yes, there are, they just have beards, so everyone thinks they're men? Like, that I think that was something Gimli said in Lord of the Rings. And there's definitely there's multiple variations on the thing. Really? Are you sure that's not what he said? Because there are definitely... I distinctly remember him saying that, but I could be wrong. That could be a movie-only thing. That could be a... And there are definitely at least some fantasy universes based on Tolkien, which granted pretty much every... There's a whole standard set of fantasy universes that are built on Tolkien. And at least some of them, female dwarves having beard is a... is a mainstay. Give me a sec. Because I'm pretty sure that, depending on your version of... I'm sure that that is not the only version of things where he... I know for a fact that's not the... doesn't specify the females have beards, but it does say no one trusts a beardless dwarf. Exactly. Baranor Truesilver has a beard. And she is like the of dwarven goddesses, right? The most... presumably a standard of beauty. Yeah, she's almost certainly a standard of beauty among female dwarves. Hang on a second. Sorry about that. That was my mother again. She's annoyed with me for being slow and all of that jazz. Hopefully the mute thing on the microphone worked. I mean, I don't mind if you overheard my conversation with my mother. She's very nice, and I don't, keep secrets. But also true. Although, hang on. I feel like this is not the only... feel like female dwarves are often depicted without beards, but that's because of the human beauty standard of women not having beards. And I feel like there's a lot of weird history with that, especially with Goliaths. Fucking female Goliaths should not have hair. That is, yeah, you know, like it's BS. And there's a whole thing about female dwarves and beards. Like they're, and definitely in the Discworld book, they are absolutely bearded. Under Terry Pratchett, there's more serious ones there. They are. There's, whole. It just. It's. I don't. You know what I mean? But I'm not the only one putting this out there. I'm not the only one. It's a well-known trope for female dwarves to have beards in certain communities. Also true. But I also don't have any particular attachment to elves other than Amethyst. So, you know, I also didn't make the rule for female dwarves to have beards. That was not me. I just believe in it strongly because of the social context for which they are depicted as beardless. But my first character ever was a dwarf, Alara. She had a beard. She was cool. And Flint, Duragar, they had a beard as well. And actually got Propositionist human guy who never slept with dwarven women because he couldn't tell with the beards and wasn't gay. And so Flint seduced all of the human women he was sleeping around with and then snuck them all off back to a room for an orgy because, you know, like you do. Flint was a bard. That version of Flint is particularly chaotic. Basically is just... basically is a simp. That version of Flint is a simp. They were approached... What was it? Approached by a very attractive young woman and asked to murder a mayor, and they did. They killed the mayor because some pretty girl told them to. Said mayor is now dead, and Flint is a wanted criminal, and just going about doing the thing. It's very exciting stuff. Flint does not have a cute elven girl after her, but Flint has other things, like a stan, because our DM is a huge JoJo fan. Except I don't know what the stan is yet, because, you know, we haven't gotten that far in the campaign. Okay, wait, hang on. I got very, very, very distracted. Like, extremely distracted. But yes, female aquatic dwarves do have beards, as well. Mountain dwarves in the area, I don't know. But I know female aquatic dwarves do. Have beards. With the same stringy kelp, like, you know, like, it's, their hair is, both on the head and on the, beards is, more like whiskers, of a cat in terms of, you know, functionality. Like, there's some sensitivity to it, and has thicker strands, more like seaweed than, fur or whatever. Thicker and more distinct strands that do get braided into, you know, all that jazz. But yeah. Can you link the article? Can you link the article? Is there a link to the article from Roger Moore? Out of curiosity. We'll probably end up turning into a debate, but I'm curious to the other side as well. Yes. All right, hang on. There you go. Aspect. Oh, right, I never explained about the, which means that if you approach from the surface as a surface dwarf or something, you have to swim under to get to the temple, which complicates things if you're not an aquatic. Well, possibly. That's true. I know in a lot of fair enough, Warhammer Fantasy, that's a very different, completely different universe. But I know a lot of the LARPs said that female dwarven players had to figure out how to do beards, whether it was natural facial hair or fake it, because female dwarves did have beards as part of that. Someone on TolkienCrow.net. Anyway. In Forgotten Realms, all female dwarves can grow beards, and it appears like only shield dwarf women, not all of them, who shave theirs off. Interesting. According to a thread on Reddit. In a conclusion, the dwarves are said to appear almost exactly alike, regardless of gender, and all dwarves are born with beards. Tolkien states directly in War of the Jewels that both male and female dwarves have beards. So, Gimli didn't say that in the movie. For example. But I know... but I know for a fact that, Warhammer's fantasy is not Tolkien, and, each universe has its own distinctive lore onto whether women grow beards, and also, a dwarven custom might be for women to shave. Like, human women in large swaths of the world shave parts of the body that normally grow hair as an aesthetic thing and are expected to, and are found gross and unpalatable if they don't. So it could be the same for dwarven women with facial hair. It could be or it could just grow in kind of patchy because of the high estrogen levels. You might get patchy, so you never can't grow like this nice thick beard, so you shave it off anyway because it looks stupid if you try to grow one. Or other thing. It could be all sorts of other stuff. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Except above the surface of the water. And no floor. The center platform, the connecting. A platform built around the base of each pillar. Does the temple have a ceiling? That is an important question. No, because you can't go in from the air. The only way under is to swim. You have to go through the water to get there. and there is no... Basically, you can't fly in and you can't walk. You have to swim. It's like a thing. Which, so any other race wanting to visit the temple and pay proper respects has to swim underneath, at least partially swim. Because that's how the temple's held. Also, hi. It is now past 11 officially, so, you know. Okay. We're gonna keep that there for a minute. Okay, but yes, beards and female dwarves. And I know that Maisie Copperbot of the Hupperduke Copperpots has the most amazing handlebar mustache, because her sister is clean shaven, and she kind of wanted to distinguish herself because they're identical twins and people get them mixed up otherwise. And she still gets mixed up for her sisters, even though she has a well-groomed handlebar mustache and her sister's clean shaven, because reasons. Hazel's much more personable and popular and a musician, and Maisie is apprenticed to a smith and also an artificer, and Hazel is a bard and goes adventuring and with the Audiomatic, which Maisie built, at least in part, but they co-created it, so, but Hazel made it a thing, so, Hazel Copperpot was played by Marisha Ray during the Darrington Brigade one-shot, and then I just, what if she had a twin sister, and a Hupperduke, and cultural, and I kind of spiraled off of it, blah, blah, blah. Okay, yes, so we have the temple, okay, yes. Physical appearance. Aquatic dwarves. I'm gonna have to go soon and do the thing that my mom was yelling at me about, but, sorry. I haven't worn earrings in a few days, I'm getting used to them now. But, I thought I could for today, because I was already kind of playing Femme, so I thought maybe I should put them in, and now I'm not sure. I also have to take a shower, because that's the thing. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. Okay, what was I doing? I was confusing everyone and not doing a thing. Okay, sorry, I'm getting... I don't know, honestly. I would think if you're wearing two, pretty, if one, handsome, because that's how earrings work. Although, I've known guys to do two, and it's actually more popular among black men, and actually modern gay men usually do two, and not just the one in the right ear, which was a symbol back in the day, which I usually do as a reclaim thing because I really don't want to be associated with heterosexuality, and a lot of older straight guys still carry the one earring in the left ear thing. My father among them, although he doesn't actually wear earrings anymore, but he had his left ear pierced. It closed. I think he let it close up eventually. But I think as part of his gift on Christmas one year, I gave him one of my earrings that I'd lost the pair for. That's an interesting thought. I guess it depends. No, but like dangly ones are pretty. Even if for a guy, they're pretty. It's a thing. If you go dangly, that's a whole thing. What's that? Oh yeah. So dark blue freckles, like white as ice, like white skin. Gray. With gray or greenish blue eyes. They have I wonder how much beard. That's an interesting thought. I bet dwarven babies have really cute little beards, though. Like, okay, if both male and female dwarves are born with beards, which is the case under some, I bet they have these really cute little stubby beards that are just like soft and fuzzy. Because, even when human babies are born with hair, they're born with like this very fine layer. Some are born without, but it comes in within a few like weeks. But I bet it's probably the same for dwarven babies, right? They probably have these really like soft, thin, patchy beard, that are like really soft and like, I bet dwarven infants are adorable. Also, just babies in general are cute. And halfling babies are probably like tiny. They're probably like yay big. You can hold them in the palm of your hand. Like, human babies are small. You imagine a halfling baby? They're probably like tiny and adorable and just, cute and, Also, half human, half halflings are not talked about, but I feel like that's a thing because, humans are like, they can have orcs, they can go with elves, they can go with orcs. I bet human and halflings. I don't know about humans and dwarves. I don't know if dwarves are just too rock solid and sturdy to spread genes like that, but I think there was some canon, for instance, something called a Dwelf, which was half dwarf, half elf, and basically just like the worst of both races, so basically human, as someone mentioned. But half, because there's I have a lot of half human, half halfling NPCs kicking around parts of Hitherland and Hyreth, which complicates things for the New Crusade, because they're a whole thing. And Reed the Blacksmith was a halfling, and he had a human wife, and they had several kids together, including an infant who was murdered by the New Crusade. Because the New Crusade just went around and murdering infants. That's what they do. They're the bad guys. Except they worship Iomide, who's a lawful good goddess, which complicates things, especially with actual worshippers of Iomide who do not like the fact that there are people going around with the Iomide symbol murdering infants. And yeah. So they're a crazy lot. And the party got attacked in the barn by these New Crusade cultists, and they were expecting this intensive fight, and they knocked them out in like 4 rounds, because I was like, these guys are assholes. Probably not even quite level 1. I think I gave them bandit stats, so probably like 2 or 2nd or 3rd level. They're not anything particularly powerful. They're just a couple farmhands who got uppity and decided that they didn't realize that the party was actually, adventuring party. So they were gonna like sneak in the middle of the night and stab them, and they were up keeping watch, and so that happened. And they were like, we were over preparing for this. I'm like, yeah. But Oh, no. Aw, that, but you wouldn't say go around and read the blacksmith's infant son or infant daughter, I think it was. Yeah, because poor Sarah was a human woman and she had her little baby, and you're not going to go murder her infant just because his father's a halfling, right? Because that happened to several infants in, that. Oh, and then there was Darlene, who was, attacked by the New Crusade as well. And she actually took a level in cleric, and, they were escorting her to her cousin's house, and then her cousin ended up sleeping with a party member because she was trying to seduce the party NPC, and then, I mean, maybe not. Depends. I mean, yeah, but there are human men who end up with, there are average height humans who end up with humans who have dwarfism, or I think, yeah. So, humans are that short do end up with regular height, partners for various reasons. Because they are weirdly attractive, because they have good personalities and they make it work because of reasons, and they do have babies together sometimes, and, while they have the matching human genome and they have a secondary factor of dwarfism on top of that, it still is an interesting, that would be a dynamic of the, that would be the dynamics at play if a human and a halfling were to hook up. And then, of course, one of my DMs says that she has dwarfism is a thing that happens in her world, so humans can be born with, dwarfism and be that short. And I imagine a halfling born with something like that would be like, just tiny. That's, let me see. I think the great thing about, let's see, there's Jyoti AMG, an Indian actress, is 2'1". She is the shortest woman in the world. So, she's, and then, oh, okay. 28.5 inches and delivered her first child in Dry Ridge, Kentucky. Stacey Harold. So, let's see. 28.5 inches is 2 feet, 4.5 inches, which is her first child was a girl. She delivered her second on the 1st of January in 2008. Both children delivered by cesarean sections. Gave birth to her third child, a boy named Malachi, in November of 2019. Or 2009, sorry. Yeah. So Stacey Harold is what? 28.5 inches, which is 2 feet, 4.5 inches. So under 2'5", which is, I mean, yeah, I know. So she was 2'5", or less than 2'5", and gave birth to, well, okay, she gave birth to one child and had two for a cesarean section, but she managed to have babies via a very tall human. And to be fair, if the human woman was the one giving birth for the halfling's child, that wouldn't even be an issue because the babies would be a lot smaller. And if you're giving birth, babies that are smaller than you are golden. I mean, babies are naturally smaller, but I mean, a baby who has propensity to be way smaller and not unhealthily underweight and like in need of neonatal care, which you probably couldn't get depending on the world. Like if they're just naturally that small but perfectly healthy, that's like a win-win, right? Especially if you have your husband is sweet, and I mean, and size is actually not that important for stimulation, right? So like, your babies are born small but healthy. Your husband's sweet and caring and can cook well. I mean, you'd have to build the house adaptably to, like, seat different height people, but, I mean, it could be a nice life. Wait, does Naho really have 37 kids? I mean, Cora wasn't, when I played with Rory, in Rory's game, actually, who plays in Naho, the first time I played with him as my DM, which was the first time I played 5th edition and the first time I played in years, apart from one Pathfinder game that kept getting delayed because we couldn't get together, so we'd only play like once a month or so, but that was the one time, his game I played a halfling, Cora, Cleric of Serenray. She was, she was in the Forgotten Realms. She is the Chief Priestess of Serenray in the Forgotten Realms because she's the only Priestess of Serenray in the Forgotten Realms because, but does Anaho really have 37 kids? Is that canon or is that, speculation? Because this is interesting. If he does have kids stashed away somewhere, especially if he has that many kids, it's probably a bunch of different women, right? So that would be an interesting, that would be an interesting plot point if it turns out, oh yeah, he has kids by like 6 baby mamas or whatever, stashed away in off on the other side, or like one over here and one over there, and like in like a bunch of different baby mamas in a bunch of different cities, and yeah. But no, the shortest woman to ever give birth is an American named Stacey Harold. The shortest woman in the world is, Jyoti MG. I don't know if she has any kids yet. She's only 28 though, so she still has time. Shortest living woman according to the world records. 18th birthday, on 2011, she was officially declared the world's shortest woman. She had to wait till she was 18, but she is an actress apparently, and pretty chill. I don't know. She has siblings too. I don't know. I think they're pretty much average height. Yeah, they have a picture of her with her school class, and she's, Anyway, I mean, yeah. I don't know if she's like sweet though, and I mean they're real humans who have real, and people are into some really interesting things. No, I don't know. But I don't know. I think I would probably be into a 2-foot guy if he, depending on how like cute he was. Otherwise, like if he was well proportioned and suave looking, like if Peter Dinklage approached me in a club, I not gonna lie, I might go for it. Especially if he was well dressed, like a suit. Freaking okay. Anyone, regardless of gender, looks better in a suit. It is scientific fact. Except Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill is a someone described Henry Cavill as he dirties up well. Like instead of he cleans up nice, like he looks in a suit, he looks boring white or like okay looking or whatever. You get him with a little bit of dirt and a wig, and suddenly he's like, okay, Gerald. Like he in The Witcher, he's just like smoke show, just by having a little dirt. Like I don't know why. He's like the one exception to everyone looks better in a suit rule. Plus, he doesn't wear like good suits, so, or I haven't seen a picture of him in good suits. That doesn't necessarily mean he doesn't wear them. Webbed. Uh-huh. More like the Genghis Khan, because I'm pretty sure Lord Byron was gay. Or at the very least, not straight enough, not straight. But Genghis Khan was... Uh-huh. Good to know. Okay. Sorry, my nose is itchy. Okay, we've been at this. Sorry. I feel like I should end the stream soon because I have to go do the thing with my mother, but also... Oh, absolutely. Yes, the dirt and the blood. Also, beheading ogres. It's really, really sexy, okay? Like, beheading an ogre, there's something to be said. I mean, yeah, that makes sense. I was gonna say, I do not think Lord Byron was straight. Like, Oscar Wilde, definitely not. Who else? Alan Turing, also not. Anyway, he invented the Turing test, actually. And then he was arrested for... Really? Very interesting. I did not know that about Lord Byron. I knew about Genghis Khan having a lot of kids, but I did not know Lord Byron. Also, fun fact, Loki had at least 8 children. Like regular old human children. Because I know he had Fenrir and also Jorgen. A lot of weird and hell, like at least 3 monster kids, but also a number of human children because she took on the form of a milkmaid, a human female milkmaid, and went and randomly hooked up with a guy and spent years, or I think she spent 8 years and had 5 children. Yeah, she spent 8 years on Earth, had as a milkmaid, and had 5 children by this dairy farmer. And then Odin was going, giving him hell about that. And then he's like, well, you spent time on Earth as a woman too. And I was like, yeah, but that was to learn, like, secret magics, not screw a dairy guy and have children by him. Like, what are you? And look at like, hey, I had a good time, so stop it. Interesting. I did not know about the clubfoot either. But Norse mythology is weird like that. With long flippers. And fins. And upper backs. Okay. Chap hop. No. I feel like I should. I feel like I'm gonna regret it. Almost certainly, but I'm going to do this because we're here and we're doing it. Oh, chap hop. Yes, I do know. Fighting trousers. Yes, I know of it. I did not recognize the name of the thing, but yes, I know Professor Elemental, and his put on my fighting trousers, and let's get this over and done with. Then we can get back to the cricket. And then Hermitage Shanks, and the epic rap battle feud between, Mr. B and Professor Elemental. Like, yes, I know what that is, yes. I haven't, I didn't recognize the name. No, T. The T. Oh, okay. Wait. Lord, but I have not heard that. I will listen to it, but I'm not going to play it on stream because I'm pretty sure Mr. B would be chill with it, but I don't want to risk it. cut of my jib is entirely... All right. I will listen to it, I promise. Because I'm not... Yeah, because if it's not specifically a reaction video stream, I don't want to, like, risk it, because copyright strikes are a... I know Mr. B, the gentleman rhymer. Yes. There's not room for two gentleman rhymers. Cut of my jib is entirely beyond reproach. Oh, sorry, I quoting lyrics. Yes, I know of the Chap Pop. I just didn't remember the term, but I know the music. All right, I think that it is time. I know I started the stream early, and it's just 11:30, so this is the time I would usually start the stream. But I think that we should end the stream right about now. And wait, hang on. And upper backs. Yeah, fins. They have fins. They have strands. Alright. I think this is the end of the stream. So let's see if there's anyone we can raid. Oh, Phoenix is on. We're raiding into Phoenix, for sure. You should join the raid, because Phoenix is playing D&D, and I know you like the vibe. You don't have to, but... Alright. Please? Coming to Phoenix is fun. Just pop in for half a second. And, I mean, you don't have to, but it could be fun. We're gonna go into... Oh, right, they have the one with the biblically accurate... one in the Underdark with the biblically accurate... what's the SMR with 6 eyes? I can't make you raid with me. I would just suggest popping along for a little bit, but, you know. Alright, bye-bye.